Filmography is back, and just in time for Halloween season, we're taking a deep dive into the master of horror, John Carpenter. Starting September 27th, host Dominic Suzanne Mayer and a rotating panel of guests will break down each of Carpenter's 20 feature-length movies to date, with new episodes every Thursday. Grab your synthesizer, your flares, and your best Shatner mask, and come along on this latest journey with us.
Consequence Podcast Network.
Hey, welcome to another edition of Kyle Meredith With. It's an audio interview series presented by WFPK Independent Louisville at WFPK.org, Consequence of Sound, and the Consequence Podcast Network. Before we get started today, take a moment to hit the subscribe button so you can keep up with all of the interviews that we put out every single week, whether you're listening on YouTube, on Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from. I'm Kyle Meredith. Today, my guest, Mick Box of the band Uriah Heep. They have just released their 25th album. It's called Living the Dream. We'll talk about how the process has stayed the same and changed over the years, as well as discussions about songs Grazed by Heaven, Waters Flowing, and Falling Under Your Spell. We'll find out how they still find that classic sound, especially having so many members come and go throughout the years. And we'll get an update on the upcoming 50th anniversary of the band. It's Kyle Meredith with Uriah Heep.
Hello, Kyle.
It's a pleasure to talk to you. Congratulations on this really powerful new record.
No, that's marvelous. Thank you very much, my friend.
I mean, and 25 albums. I think that's the official count that I've been reading. Do you still...
It is the official count, yeah. You have to get a birthday cake made with it, huh?
You know, this far in, do you still find yourself playing with how an album is written, or have you settled into maybe the formula, you know, how it happens from album to album now?
I think, I'm a writer, so I write every day, whether it be, a riff, a chord sequence, a lyric or a title or a blog or a book or a story or something. It's just something I do every day. So when it's time to do an album, I'll get with our keyboard player, put Phil Lanson, who's my writing partner. He does the same thing on keyboards I do on guitar. With the ideas, he's got the same work ethic. So we just get together and pull our ideas and start writing songs. So it's pretty much the same way, to be honest, because we always do the music first, then we do the melody, then we do the lyrics, then we present it to the band.
And it's incredible how it comes out. And I'll hit on some of these songs too. You know, Graced by Heaven. I mean, that comes out just swinging like something heavy anyway. It seems like maybe we're making a statement right out of the gates. Is that the case?
It is a statement out of the gate. You're absolutely correct there, yeah. We wanted to do that because we wanted to prove to everybody that, we're alive and kicking and we still have the same passion for our music we always had. And I think Grace does that perfectly, and it drags people in, or draws people in, I hope, and then that settles them down for the rest of the album.
Yeah, and in fact, we don't really get to come up for air until Waters Flowing kind of arrives, which brings that acoustic back in. Do you still find yourself, especially on a heavy record like this, do you find yourself needing or wanting that classic acoustic sound to be found somewhere in there?
Well, we've always had that in our armory, if you like, and nearly every album. So it's something we established way back in our first album. We're very, very, very humble. We had the anthemic Gypsy, which was very hard rock, and then we had something as beautiful as Come On Belinda, which is an acoustic song, So we've always had that, as I say, in our armory. So it was a natural extension for us to do that. The song was written, and it fitted perfectly in the format of the album.
And speaking of those older songs, some fans have pointed out that Falling Under Your Spell feels like it has a little bit of that easy living DNA in it. Is that coincidence, wishful hearing from fans, or do you hear that as well?
Well, when I heard it said to me, I nearly fell off my chair. Because I couldn't see any comparisons at all, because Easy Living is just a shuffle, and Falling Under Your Spell isn't. So it really surprised me that comparison was made. But so I'm still trying to get my head round how that does sound like Easy Living. But it is a 3-minute song that has a lot of powerful elements in it, as Easy Living did. So maybe it's that they're listening to.
Yeah, well, nostalgia is always strong with fans, especially when you've got a band that's been around for as long as you all have. I do find that sometimes
it's a very powerful drug, my friend.
In that classic set, when you've had as many members as you've had come and go throughout the years, and in separate times, how do you come to a point to find that classic sound? Or is it even that you need to find that classic sound? Because, I don't know, because, this sounds like a Heap record at the end of it. It sounds like, one from today, but there's still that there. Like, how is that completely possible, I guess is what I'm asking.
Well, I think, we established a template, a musical template, at least back in the 70s with our first album. And I think we've carried that all the way through. If you've got the hammered organ, you've got the wah-wah guitar, you've got the 5-part harmonies that we have, distinctive lead vocal. I mean, you apply that to any song, it becomes Heapy. And that's exactly how we view it, I mean, we take the songs to the band, and they may have an inkling of Heap, but once the band get hold of it, it becomes Heap in seconds, So it's just how we apply ourselves to each song.
And I had to ask about It's All Been Said, too, because on the surface, just that title, again, when you've been around for about 50 years in this band, it seems like that would sort of be the wall that you're playing against, that it's all been said.
There's certainly an element of that, and well done for noticing that, yes.
Yeah, and what is the challenge? I mean, how hard is the challenge for you to kind of find something new to say and something new to offer in each new record?
I think, we're a band that travel in 61 countries around the world, so, we're out there, we see different cultures, different things happening in the world, As long as you've got your creative antenna out, there's plenty to write about. I mean, It's All Been Said was just a reflection on newspapers and how they present news and how people, hunger for the very next line to be written, and how crime and celebrity sit side by side each other on a daily basis, So it's just a comment on that, really. But there's plenty of things out there. If you've got imagination, there's no shortage of things to write about.
Yeah. Speaking of that early, is it too early to start thinking about that 50th anniversary, or has that already been in your mind?
It keeps coming up, I have to say, and we're treating, because the first album was released in 1970, we're looking at 2020 being the 50th anniversary. But we're absolutely immersed in the Living the Dream promotion tours and into, the actual full touring schedule. And somewhere along that line, the ideas will flow, and we'll talk to our management, and we'll find something exciting to do in the 50th anniversary, because it's a milestone that not many bands have reached, and we're very proud we will have reached that milestone, and it has to be celebrated, for the fans alone.
It is an incredible milestone, and early congratulations on that, by the way. We'll get to the real thing, I guess, in a few years.
Thank you.
For the upcoming shows, how much of this record do you incorporate into the tour?
Well, we're going into a rehearsal period on the 1st of October before we start a 2-month run through Europe to end at Christmas. And what we're going to do is what we try to do is because we travel in 61 countries in the world, we kind of get a feel for the songs that people like to hear from our heritage, from our old stuff, if you like. So, the July Mornings, maybe the Stealing, the Gypsy, Easy Living, or maybe Lady in Black. So we use that as a nucleus, and then we'll add in tracks from the new album. Obviously, Grazed by Heaven will be an inclusion. Take Away My Soul is an obvious stage number, So there are obvious ones that we'll pop in and see how it fits with the historical stuff. And then we'll look at some older stuff that we haven't performed for ages and rehearse that up and put that into the pile too. And so it'll be a set list that actually goes from our first album, Very Heavy, Very Humble, 1970, right up to Living the Dream in 2018. I keep saying 2000, God help us. 2018. And it'll be a good journey through our career, our musical career, which is great.
Well, that's a hell of a career. I noticed a couple other records are sort of, celebrating their own big round anniversaries. I don't know how much stock or how much attention you give on that, but a record like Fallen Angel, which it's 30 years earlier this year. Is there any reflection on that record? Is there anything that comes to mind? Because that was sort of maybe the height of, I guess, mainstream popularity for Uriah Heep, right?
Yes, amazing. We keep getting these milestones and anniversaries coming up, which is just every time it really does surprise me. But marvellous. I mean, Fallen Angel was an album that I think we'd lost our way in the rock field, but found our way in the pop field. I think it got a bit too poppy and nice and polite, as opposed to being a full-on rock band. Fallen Angel. It's still got good songs. Don't get me wrong. And I think John Lawton, the vocalist at the time, sort of made them quite rocky. But I think we were losing our way a little bit from all the progressive rock we were doing and all the real rock songs we were producing. But it's still a great album, and fans still love it.
Same here, and just one little milestone in a very long career leading up to this latest one, too. It has been really fun to listen to the new record, and again, congratulations on this one, Mick. We'll be excited to hear how these songs sound live.
Thank you very much, Carl. They'll sound great live because, we recorded them live in the studio in the first place. So we can play the whole album from top to bottom with no qualms at all on live. So we look forward to it.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear it. All right, man. Thank you very much for the talk, and take care.
Thank you, Carl. Thanks very much, mate.
Right,
Thanks
bye.
for your support. Thank you. Bye-bye.
My thanks to Mick Box of Uriah Heep. Again, the new record is called Living the Dream. It is available now. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit the subscribe button wherever you're listening from right now, whether that's YouTube, whether that's Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts from these days. And if you can, go ahead and give it a rating and leave a review as well. After that, head over to WFPK.org. That's where I do a show every Monday through Thursday from noon to 3 Eastern, where you can also find some bonus episodes of this series. I'm Kyle Meredith. I'll see you next time.
Consequence Podcast Network.